All right, good evening. Welcome to the show. Here it is, right here. This is maybe you've seen it already, but if you haven't, it's the unsealed 49-page indictment against former President Trump and his personal aide, Walt Nauta. The indictment outlines 37 counts against Mr. Trump, 31 separate felony counts of willful retention of national defense information, which is said to be a violation of the Espionage Act, along with charges of obstruction of justice, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and making false statements. The indictment also alleges that boxes containing, as you see there, documents marked top secret and classified were kept in storage rooms, even a bathroom shower, and at the Mar-a-Lago Club's white and gold ballroom, quote, according to the indictment, in which guests and gatherings took place. Now, it's unclear if the boxes were there when these gatherings took place, but the indictment goes on to outline how Trump's aide, Walt Nauta, who I just mentioned, helped move the boxes, some of them even taken to Trump's office at the Bedminster Club in New Jersey. And there, the indictment alleges that a recording took place during which Mr. Trump talks about one of those classified documents. So here we are, almost a year after the FBI raid at Mar-a-Lago, a former president now indicted. We are witnessing a dark chapter in American history. Often in the media, you hear words used like unprecedented, unparalleled, extraordinary, verbiage that's often unnecessary, overused, and cliche. In this case, however, in this story, it's fitting. The indictment of a former president on federal charges is unprecedented. It is unparalleled. It is extraordinary. And it is history in the making. We are all watching and studying how this plays out in the courts, in the media, on Capitol Hill, and more than likely at the ballot box. I'm John Huddy in for Greta Van Susteren, who is on assignment tonight, and this is The Record. And joining us with more on the indictment, what's in it, what it means, is Harvard Law Professor Emeritus and author of the book Get Trump, Alan Dershowitz, who's joining me now. Professor, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for coming on. So did they get him? I mean, the indictment alleges the classified documents that Trump stored in his boxes, included information regarding defense and weapons capabilities of both the U.S., foreign countries, among other allegations. So is this a damning indictment against the former president? What do you think?
Part of it is, part of it isn't. The material about simply possessing classified material is not a damning indictment. We knew it was coming. President's Records Act probably is at least a potential defense to that. There are two damning paragraphs, just two, paragraph 34 and paragraph 35. Where they have tape recordings of the former president basically acknowledging that some of the papers that he possessed and showed to a writer, I'll just read you. So as president, I could have declassified it. Now I can't, but this is still safe. The reason that's so important, it doesn't end on witnesses who have been flipped. The reason they went after, for example, his personal aide was they're trying to flip him and make him into a witness against him. But we know that witnesses can be not made to sing, but sometimes made to compose as well, make stories. But when you have a tape in the voice of the defendant himself, it's hard to dispute. So I think this is a serious indictment on these two charges. Everything else, I think, is exactly what we expected. There's no difference between that and what Hillary Clinton and others have done, not enough to justify this. It doesn't meet what I call the Richard Nixon standard, which was very clear obstruction of justice, destroying evidence, paying bribes. This is too close a case to bring against a man running for president against the incumbent president. The only exception to that are these two paragraphs, and we're going to have to hear an explanation from Trump's lawyers or from Trump as to how he can justify having shown to somebody who doesn't have security clearance allegedly some information about a plan to attack Iran. He may claim he didn't show it to him. He just kind of waved it in front of him as part of his kind of bragging. But that's something that will have to be explained. That's the only two paragraphs that I think are new, novel, and dangerous to Donald Trump.
Yeah, and we see what, one of the photos the DOJ released is a box that looks like it fell over, and it's a lot of newspaper clippings, and even the former president talked about that box just had newspaper clippings. I want to ask you about the Espionage Act, because the first 31 counts have to do, as I outlined, with the willful retention of national defense information. Is that indeed a violation of the Espionage Act? I mean, you know who else violated the Espionage Act and were convicted? Aldrich James and Robert Hansen. So is he in the company of these guys who, who violated this act and were tried for it?
The Espionage Act is one of the most dangerous and unconstitutional statutes ever passed by Woodrow Wilson in 1917 in order to imprison dissidents opposed to the war. Every civil libertarian, every liberal, every progressive, every Democrat I know was against this statute for the last 100 years. Now they're all rooting for it to be applied broadly to conduct that has nothing to do with espionage. There's no allegation that he ever endangered national security or showed material to enemies or sold it to enemies. So the word espionage is completely misleading. Not be in the company of Aldrich James or any of the other people. This is a possession statute. And even the count involving showing it to other people was brought essentially under the provision statute that talks about willfully possessing classified material.
Professor Alan Dershowitz, great to have you on. I tell you, I was happy to bring you on, because if anybody can argue this, it's you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.